You know, that movie, The Birds, that horror movie. There you go. There's all the birds. What's up, guys? So today we're doing the front upper control arm on the Durango because it's a Dodge and things keep breaking because leave it to Dodge. So my friend Sean here is going to help me with this because he has an impact and might speed up the process. But I'm going to show you guys how to do it with hand tools along the way as well. This way you guys can do it on your Durangos if you have a Durango. Okay, so here's the upper control arm right here. Yep. We're spraying up the bolts to make it a little easier.
Oh shit.
A little bit of PB blaster. And then once we figure out what the nut size is, we will let you know what the nut size is. Okay, guys, so you can get the comparison. This is the new one, which is the part right there. Okay. These side bolts right here are 21s. There is a bolt up here. Right there, it's a 24. It's right on the top. It goes on these two right here. So you're gonna need a breaker bar and a really big socket with a nice long breaker bar. So yeah, you guys are gonna need a nice, like.
Can you see that spinning down here?
I don't think so.
Just keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you seeing it?
Yeah, I'm seeing. It's not spinning.
Not? Okay, good.
Okay, so you guys are going to need a nice long breaker bar for this to get in there, and a 24mm socket. We thought we could get there with the impact gun, but it did not fit because of the wheel well, so you got to do it by hand. Unless you have a small impact gun, maybe you can do it. So once you guys get it loose, you should be able to put a big ratchet on it like this and just ratchet it off. So it's the top two bolts in the middle. They go right here on this one. So one will be here, one will be here. They put this plastic cover so that you don't damage the threads on these. But
you know what?
One here, one here. Okay, so your new one is going to come with this little pin. This little tiny pin.
Yep.
Goes inside this guy. There should be a hole. Where's the hole? Right there. So it goes through that hole. That little hole. This pin goes through this hole. Once you install it right here, it'll be right on this bottom here. The pin will go through the hole.
This isn't such an awkward spot.
This is the hard part, pulling out the old pin.
Yeah. There we go.
Okay, so one thing to mention, when you jack this up, I recommend having a jack stand or two. Jacking it up, here's your passenger side door. Just a little bit past your door, that's a solid metal there, and then putting a jack stand underneath. Okay. And then the jack stand, lower the car onto the jack stands. And then use your jack right here under your lower control arm to jack this up. It will relieve some of the pressure on the bolts up here holding your upper control arm. So this bottom one right there is a 22mm. Trying to get a good little shot of that. That's this bolt right here on the lower control arm. So it's your bottom bolt right here. In this part. So as we loosen it out, you can see it coming down there. It's backing itself out.
I'm gonna tap that.
Alright. And we got the castle nut off the bottom here, from right here, from this guy. Now, to get this out, if you have a pry bar, you can put a pry bar in here and pry it up. Just be careful you don't damage this part too much.
Or the brake line.
Or the brake line.
Especially the brake line.
Or if you can get a small hammer in here, you can leave the castle nut on here just at the end and tap it up with a hammer and pry it up with a pry bar. They do have a special tool to separate it. We have one right here. This guy is made specifically to separate this out here. If you don't have one of these though, like I said, you can just get a pry bar in there and just pry it up. Okay, so if you have the special tool, this is what it's going to look like when you install it. It goes over the top here and then underneath the bolt on the bottom. Or like I said, you can just tap it out with a hammer or a pry bar. And then you'll just tighten it down and it will push it up. Or it should push it up. Yep, just like that. And then I'll show you guys when we get it all popped out. Here, there's a bracket for your brake line. It's a 13 millimeter. You do want to take that bolt out and then just pop it off like so. This way, once you fully disconnect your upper control arm, it doesn't snap your brake line or pull that out. Magic, it popped out, look. And then boom, it comes out like... So we got to loosen those bolts.
Yeah, I guess you do.
Okay, so you do have... Okay, so after a multitude of contemplation here, you have to remove the bottom bolt of the strut tower here. It is a 18 millimeter. You pull it out, and then you should be able to wiggle this down. Down and around here. Oh, the brake line. You gotta actually... Okay.
Yay!
So down and around like that, underneath, it comes down, underneath, you gotta twist and come up behind the brake line. I guess we'll show you what putting the new one in. I guess those rubbers come off, right?
Yeah.
And a little plastic on the end.
Oh, I can't get
Pair of pliers.
Oh yeah, where did I do it?
Right here. There you go. And we'll put some pliers on this to get these rubbers off of here. Just careful you don't squeeze too tight. You don't want to damage the threads underneath.
Yeah, that should be good because I'm gripping.
Alright, so you gotta press the strut up while holding this like so. Like so. And then you gotta finagle it back up like so. Line up your holes and start your bolt process. I'd suggest putting your strut back in first on the bottom with the 18 millimeter. And PB Blaster would definitely be a help for this job. So once you get it in there, you want to put the bottom one in first. You want to put this one in the hole first, okay? Before you put the bolts on the top. We did line it up with the holes there, but we didn't put the bolts on yet. We're going to put the bottom one in first with the castle nut and the pin. Like I said, the pin has to go through the little hole. And then it's smooth sailing from there. Okay, so once you get the bottom in, it'll look like that. We didn't put the pin in yet, but like I said, you gotta line the pin up with the hole. You tighten your two upper bolts right up here. This one and the one on the other side over there. Tighten them down. And make sure everything's nice and snug. Don't forget to put your pin in. The pin is very important. Don't forget to put the cotter pin in.
Yeah.
Then don't forget to reconnect your bracket for your brake line on the new control arm. And with the 15, where'd that little bolt go?
No, it wasn't tight.
But yeah, make sure you reattach your brake bracket there. You don't want to leave that hanging. Okay guys, so once you get that all hooked up, this is what it's gonna look like all hooked back up. I know we lost this bolt here, but I'm gonna go buy one at the parts store and just put a zip tie there. But all good and up. Now we just gotta put the big boy back on and away we shall roll. But yeah, that's how easy it is to change your upper control arm.
I got you at 12.
It took us about an hour and a half. It gets dark around here at like 4:30, so we started this a little after 3:30, so it was bound to get dark while we were doing this. So hopefully this video was helpful for you guys. I tried to cover everything in the video that we did along the way. We, like I said, did use some power tools, but I did explain the sockets and ratchets as we went with hand tools. This way you guys can see the different sizes and what you will need. And yeah, like always, social media is down below for you guys to go like and share and all that fun stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Good vibes, good cruising.